Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is going to be a heavy topic. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for some time. Have anyone heard of an article by Peggy McIntosh titled White Privilege Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack? So, I am live on YouTube. And if you subscribe, you can go live as well and ask me questions in the comments. If you ever catch me on Instagram or Facebook, feel free to join and on video. So, as you guys know, when I do my lives or do my videos, it's pretty laid back. Um, I'm not going to rush through the reading. If I have someone in the comments, excuse me, I'm in a reclining chair leaning back. If anyone is in the comments that leaves a positive message or a question, I will stop and answer it. We'll talk about it. Nothing negative going on now. This is not a discussion up for a debate. This is only information. Okay? We're learning, listening, communicating, conversating, and figuring out our own life. Okay. Um. Yeah. So I'm going to get started. As you guys see, I have broke this article down into four different parts. It's very long, very, very, very long. And the first part will be the introduction, which I'm going to read today. The second part will be daily effects of white privilege. Peggy lists 50 different effects of white privilege. The third video will be elusive and fugitive. And the fourth and final video will be earned strength and unearned power. If you get agitated while I'm reading this, just stop, go to another video. It's not to cause any anxiety. This is not to make you feel negative about anything. It's information. You can find information in a lot of different places. Like I said, I was interested in this when I first read it, and it just kind of stayed with me through years. So I'm just sharing something with you guys that I found. And let me just mention, it's 7 in the morning. Okay. So it's August 26, 2021, 7:04 a.m. Phew. I started around 6:30, and as you see in the bio portion, I put a lot of definitions and broke some things down. Ooh. All right, so let's get started. White privilege. Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack by Peggy McIntosh. I was taught to see racism only in individual acts of meanness, not in invisible systems conferring dominance on my group, says Peggy. Through work to bring materials from women's studies into the rest of the curriculum, I have often noticed men's unwillingness to grant that they are overprivileged, even though they may grant that women are disadvantaged. They may say they will work to women's statues in the society, the university, or the curriculum, but they can't or won't support the idea of lessening men's. Denials that amount of taboo surround the subject of advances that men gain from women's disadvantages. Let me read that over. Denials that amount to taboos surround the subject of advantages that men gain from women's disadvantages. These denials protect male privilege from being fully acknowledged, lessened, or ended. Thinking through unacknowledged male privilege as a phenomenon, I realize that since hierarchies in our society are interlocking, they are most likely a phenomenon. I realize that since hierarchies in our societies are interlocking, there was most likely a phenomenon of white privilege that was similarly denied and protected. As a white person, I realize I have been taught about racism as something that puts others at a disadvantage, but have been taught not to see one of its corollary aspects, white privilege, which puts me at an advantage. I think whites are carefully taught not to recognize white privilege, as males are taught not to recognize male privilege. So I have begun, in an untutored way, to ask, what is it like to have white privilege? I have come to see white privilege as an invisible package of unearned assets that I count on cashing in each day, but about which I was meant to remain oblivious. White privilege is like an invisible weightless knapsack of special provisions, maps, passports, code books, visas, clothes, tools, and blank checks. Describing white privilege makes one newly accountable. As we in women's studies work to reveal male privilege and ask men to give up some of their power, so one who writes about having white privilege must ask, having described it, what will I do to lessen or end it? After I realized the extent to which men work from a base of unacknowledged privilege, I understood that much of their oppressiveness was unconscious. Then I remembered the frequent charges from women of color that white women whom they encounter are oppressive. I began to understand why we are just seen as oppressive, even when we don't see ourselves that way. I began to count the ways in which I enjoy unearned skin privilege and have been conditioned into oblivion about its existence. My schooling gave me no training in seeing myself as an oppressor, as an unfairly advantaged person, or as a participant in a damaged culture. I was taught to see myself as an individual whose moral state depended on her individual moral will. My schooling followed the pattern my colleague Elizabeth Minich has pointed out. Whites are taught to think of their lives as morally neutral, normative, and average, and also ideal, so that when we work to benefit others, this is seen as work that will allow them to be more like us. I'll repeat. My schooling followed the pattern my colleague Elizabeth Minich had pointed out. Whites are taught to think of their lives as morally neutral, normative, and average, and also ideal, so that when we work to benefit others, this is seen as work that will allow them to be more like us. The end. So, you guys, that's all from part one of the intro to the article White Privilege by by Peggy McIntosh. So it's White Privilege Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack by Peggy McIntosh. Peggy McIntosh, I'm not for sure if she is still alive today, but at the ending of this article, it's given an excerpt about her life. So let's read this. Peggy McIntosh is an associate director of the Wellesley College Center for Research on Women. This essay is excerpted from Working Paper 189. White Privilege and Male Privilege, a personal account of coming to see correspondences through work in women's studies, 1988, by Peggy McIntosh, available for $4 from the Wellesley College Center for Research on Women. This working paper contains a longer list of privileges. This excerpted essay is reprinted from the winter 1990 issue of Independent School. So, everyone breathe. Take a deep breath. Everything's going to be okay. This was approximately 10 minutes long. Like I said, the next video will go into Peggy's list of 50 daily effects of white privilege, which this is the short list. No one have any comments, questions, so I'll end this live stream, and if you subscribe to the channel, you will be able to leave me a comment. I will delete all negative comments just to let you know where I'm at with this. Be positive, learn something today, and enjoy.